underestimate the power of PlayStation.
You should write into Beyond at ign.com, just like Kendrick Keller of Buffalo, Illinois did.
You got some interesting places.
It's crazy today. Dear Greg, Colin, and Marty.
Aw.
This one's mainly directed at you, but stick with it.
What did I do?
Last week we went. We all went a little hard at Ubisoft.
Yeah, well,
Greetings and Beyond.
Beyond.
To Greg, Colin, and the sometimes third chair. Oh, you just said the names. I don't know why you're saying. I am Kendrick Keller, an 18-year-old who lives in Illinois, and I have a weakness.
You're saying the state's name wrong. It's Illinois.
It's not Illinois. Illinois. And I have a weakness. I feel sympathy for Ubisoft. Ubisoft is and always has been my favorite video game publisher, and I feel the need to defend them from some of the flack they've been getting recently. Now, gentlemen, we were all mad about these glitches and problems in Assassin's Creed Unity, as well as the fact that they basically released in broken game and decided to fix it later after they got everybody's money.
Game wasn't broken.
Thank you. That's something to chime in with. Again, this is the problem with the Assassin's Creed Unity and the problem with the internet.
Yeah.
One guy tweeted a skinless face, and everybody's like, "That's everything."
Are fantastic.
And then a picture is absolutely fantastic, but it's like 0.1% of people who played on PC.
Yeah,
I like that picture where it's like it's got text on it. It says like "my lady" or something.
Yeah, his face is melting.
Oh my goodness. All right, sorry. Hold on. So he just wrote one giant paragraph. I, a long-standing fan of Assassin's Creed, avoided Unity not just because I have yet to get a PS4.
Well, that's one
Kendrick,
reason
you gotta proofread these emails.
Wait,
but also because of what I heard and saw on the internet. But I feel that we are forgetting just because we get swept up in these new shiny generation consoles that the last gen consoles are still a big thing. Ubisoft made 2 games this year, Unity and Rogue, which I have heard from reviews that can be found at IGN.com, that Rogue was an excellent game, a game that improved on last year's wonderful installment of Assassin's Creed 4. I guess I say this because we are looking to Ubisoft's failures more than their successes. Far Cry 4, South Park The Stick of Truth, The Crew, and Assassin's Creed Rogue, and he says Rouge, by the way, all came out this year, and for the most part got stunning reviews. Hell, I'm playing Splinter Cell Blacklist of 2013 and The Stick of Truth right now, and P.S. they rock. So I'm not saying buy Ubisoft's crap, that they don't deserve the criticism, but let up a little on some of the things that happened in 2014. I would love to hear what you have to say about this, because we really need to be optimistic. I beloved that Ubisoft would benefit from taking a break in 2015, much like Telltale shit. Ubisoft should make 2015 great with Division, Rainbow Siege, and maybe a next-generation port of Rouge. That, with the new Assassin's Creed off the table. I relish your feedback.
He relishes it.
Yeah. That's delicious. Now I want hot dogs. There's a lot to unpack there. Well,
Lots
we
to
know.
unpack. So, like last week, we were talking about broken games.
That's because you had that sassy Brian Altano on.
We did.
Yeah.
He said brap a few times.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
But we were talking about, the concerns, the things, the problems with online gaming. And then, of course, that brings up Tetris and then Assassin's Creed a little bit.
Yeah. The
so
Crew.
on and so forth.
Yeah.
The Crew, The Drive Club. There's many things, but Ubisoft's
Halo,
name kept coming up.
So it's easy to forget, since The Crew and Unity had its share of problems at the end of the year, it's easy to forget that Ubisoft had a phenomenal first half of the year.
Right.
With South Park and Child of Light and Valiant Hearts.
Yep.
Those are rad games. Far Cry was great. It's a complex. I think this is, again, pointing to, we've said it time and time again, that this current gen architecture is tougher to develop for than I think people thought. I think people are in crunch to make certain time windows, which is why when a game gets delayed, I am more than happy. When something gets pushed out of fall 2014, and when Batman moves to summer 2015, when The Witcher moves to May, perfectly fine with that. I'm all for calling a company out on their BS. If something isn't up to snuff, I don't think they're going to take 2015 off at all.
No,
we
God,
saw
no. They can't do that.
Victory already leaked, so we know that's a game. I don't think both Rainbow Six and The Division will come out this year.
Rainbow Six doesn't have a shot, I don't think.
Yeah, because that's just, we played that single map at E3.
And it looked awesome.
But it went off the grid after that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's an interesting little conundrum they have, because they're one of the few AAA developers and publishers who, like, their reach is just so far. Whereas like Activision has that sort of narrow. It has their 3 pillars. It has their Destiny, their Call of Duty, and their Skylanders. Ubisoft has sort of like
you don't count Blizzard in there?
Well, just no. I like
clarity.
Blizzard. For clarities.
For clarity.
For clarities.
For clarity and clear.
Yeah. Yeah, but whereas Ubisoft has these, this UbiArt framework games, they have their arcade ports. That Monopoly. Did you guys play that Monopoly yet?
I did.
Yeah.
I played it a little bit, and it was a little frustrating, actually.
Yeah.
I don't skip stuff.
You couldn't skip things in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I just want to play. I almost want it to be like a sim.
Sure. Simopoly. And then they have their AAA pillars. So, they are an interesting company. I think, I don't know. I don't think you have to feel bad for Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft is doing just fine. You don't have to,
Do you think that changes? I mean, do you think public impression based on this year is going to damage them going into next?
Yeah, I think Unity, especially coming off how well-regarded Black Flag was, I think Unity hurt the brand a little bit. I think they have to rethink what they're going to do with the AC brand.
But don't they get to... I felt like 3 hurt the brand, and then 4 was so
back.
great.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Now you're back down. So we're just on the every other year plan, right?
Yeah,
The main
and people are very
Assassin's
much, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
People will forget a mistake when one Rad game comes out.
Right.
And his saying that Telltale should take the year off, is that what he said?
That was something Collins was bringing up the other day, too. There was a conversation while you've been gone about Telltale. Collins saying that that Walking Dead Season 2 and what other...
Wolf Among Us.
The games that came out this year weren't special because, like, Walking Dead Season 1 was so special.
Yeah.
Everybody said Game of the Year, these amazing things. And then this year, Game of the Year, we barely talk about any of those things coming up. They're like, I think that made the nomination list. But, like, they're not like the nominees people are really pushing for and championing. And Colin's saying that's because now it's kind of, you expect that from them. They're not special. And now it's more like, well, fix your engine. Take a year off and fix your engine. Come back with something.
Gotcha.
Stop announcing new games.
Yeah, I was just saying that they're precariously close to jumping the shark, I think.
Yeah, but the games are still good.
Yeah,
First episodes of both Borderlands and Game of Thrones.
But they're the same games.
Sure.
It's just just fix your engine and make your games run better. And I mean, they're scaling and making lots of money, and that's great for them. I'm excited for them. And I'm not judging these games based on a quality level because I haven't played most of them. I only played The Walking Dead, so it's like I'm not judging it based on that. But like as we said, we won't rehash it. It's just an issue of scarcity. Like Telltale is going to become less and less special the more and more they do.
Uncharted 4 is a big deal because we've waited years for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like it'll be 4 years at least by the time we get Uncharted 4.
Whereas if it was annualized.
Yeah,
that would suck. I'd be bummed if Uncharted was annualized. You want that kind of quality, but you can't get that kind of quality every year. As far as Ubisoft's concerned, I don't feel bad for them at all. I mean, I think that I agree that I think that they're a great publisher. Mm-hmm. Typically, I think that their games are typically very good. I loved Far Cry, and I did love Child of Light and Valiant Hearts. I don't give them an incredible amount of credit for South Park. I think that game was well on its way before they acquired it. I think they were basically just getting it out the door, and good for them. They scooped it up. I'm sure that there was a bidding war for that particular game, but so all of that taken in and combined, they're a quality-driven publisher, and I don't blame the developers within Ubisoft's family for the games being broken, but I do blame Ubisoft, and I blame their ambition. These publishers need to pump the brakes a little bit and like take a view of the landscape and see what they can do to make higher quality games that run properly. When you release a racing game and it doesn't work online, like The Crew or like Drive Club, that's a problem. Yeah. And you shouldn't keep releasing games. Now you have to reflect on why that happened.
I feel like The Crew's cropped up recently in conversation. Did The Crew have problems at launch? I'm not even familiar. Okay, thank you. Just making sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, too. I don't know if there's this mentality of if we pump the brakes and skip a year, if we're going to sort of fall out of the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Activision feels like that with a Call of Duty game or if Ubi feels like that with an AC game. Like, I don't think that would be the case if we went one season without, or one fall without one of those.
I mean, like the Ubisoft, president or CEO had said in the interview this year, right, of like, why are we doing it every year? Because you guys buy them every year. Like, that's why we're doing this. We're trying to make money. We're trying to be a company and give you what you want. You know what I mean, that is the big part of it. So
yeah, I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, I loved that answer from him because it was very honest and authentic. At the same time, you can't always give the customers exactly what they want because sometimes, I don't want to say the customers are wrong, but sometimes the customers they're just going to keep getting the same thing over and over again. I really feel like for Activision, for instance, Call of Duty, I just beat Advanced Warfare's campaign and I was like super underwhelmed by it. And I was actually I don't think I've been that disappointed by a Call of Duty game in years. Like I play it every year. And I really liked Ghost Campaign, for instance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More than
I felt like Advanced Warfare was like this amalgamation of just things I didn't want to do. I just want to shoot. I don't want to be picking guys out of crowds. I don't want to fly a jet. I don't want to it's like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
Why am I
fly
doing
a speeder bike through future Detroit?
No, it's like, why? There's like all of these weird things in that game where I'm like, come on, guys. Like, get back to like making a good shooter campaign. This was not what the best you can do at all. And my belief is that if they just like stopped Call of Duty for 3 years and then we're bringing Call of Duty back and call it just Call of Duty and just bring it back in 2018 or something like that, it would be a huge deal. Mm-hmm. and be like, look how much better it is, and like look at but I understand that they make they're making a ton of money on this franchise, and they're going to keep making them until people say that we don't want them anymore. And the only way we can say that, but monetarily we're not saying that. And so their financials are all based around Skylanders and Call of Duty, and the same thing with Ubisoft, with Assassin's Creed and Far Cry and all these games, and soon to be Rainbow Six. My big concern, I said on another podcast, is the Division. Like, the Division looks great. I want to play it by myself, but that game's intimately connected online, and it's like the point is we should have no faith that these games are going to work because they've not proven that they're going to work. Assassin's Creed is one thing with the funny facial things that online didn't have an online interaction where it was like totally broken. But it seems like multiple publishers releasing games where if they are connected online in an intimate way, they are not working properly. And that's a huge problem. And everyone should be very concerned about that. So give Ubisoft a pass, not so much. I'm not giving anyone a pass. You're
Colin Moriarty, take him to the mat.
No pass.
No pass, Moriarty.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
you shall not pass.
I want all these games to work, and I want them all to be great. But I mean, like, you gotta learn from history, man. Like 2014 was not especially the fall was not a shining time for games working. Look at some of these games. It was like even Advanced Warfare had problems. They fixed them very quickly. Yeah. Now you could speak to this a little more authoritatively, I think, than Greg and I can.
Yeah, beardo.
We spoke about Destiny as being an example of a game that did work. Now, is that true to your recollection?
Oh yeah,
there were minor things.
Yeah, but technically it worked just fine. I think some people were underwhelmed by the content.
Oh sure,
right.
Sure,
but
sure,
I mean, out of the box, day one when it came out in September, the game worked.
Yeah,
there weren't server crashes.
No.
And
so this is the big thing, right?
Problems. I remember those.
This is the big thing to me. Is that there's excuses being made. They made it for Drive Club, for instance, where it's like Sony did, where it was like, we can't effectively test for this many people.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not true, clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly there's a way to no one's servers were hit harder this year in console gaming than Destiny. And that game worked.
Yeah.
So like, what's your excuse?
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. It's interesting too, because historically, the first day or two or three on MMO launches
this
is
what I brought
catastrophic.
up. This
it's
is
just
what I brought up. Yeah.
Unable to get into a lobby, unable to get into a world. Which, in the grand scheme of things, it's like, well, okay, then just buy the game a week later.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to say because I'm like, well, if the game's available and you don't know,
I'd be excited. I mean, you want to get in.
I'd be pissed off if I spent $50-$60 on something and I get home and I can't play it. Like all the stories of people who had consoles on Christmas and then all of a sudden you can't update them and you can't play anything.
Exactly,
that sucks.
And this is why you have to. And this is all I'm saying to the consumers out there. It's your money. Do you have to do? I would say in 2015, proceed with extreme caution on these games. Yeah. Because it doesn't. I'm not getting. We brought up Ubisoft specifically because Tetris is broken.
Yeah.
And that's insane. So
what was the problem? Like
it's the old thing? Yeah, it's the old bug. Well, that's what they think. It's the old bug. I don't know if there's been a statement since they came in the office and used me as their lab monkey to figure out what was wrong. But it looks like the friends list.
They didn't QA, and that's that. It is what it is. Like they didn't QA it with fully populated friends list, and so you play it presumably is just pinging everyone for the leaderboards, and just the game doesn't run. And when I saw that, I'm like, man, like it's getting bad.
Yeah.
And it's not only Ubisoft and all. It's just. Jesus, like our connectivity problems. It's not. I don't think it's even the consoles. The console infrastructure to be able to handle this. It's ambition.
Yeah.
Like you have to scale it back a little bit. Yeah. Tetris doesn't need to have intimate online and connectivity at all. Let me play. Like, why did EA Tetris work so well on PS3 in 2010?
As a PS Mini.
Was it a mini? It wasn't a mini.
There was a mini. Oh yeah, there was a mini
that's
for the launch of the PlayStation Go, brother. And then the next one was the one we played online.
I don't know.
EA was knocking them out of the park with these Tetris games.
It's just
I could go for another good Tetris.
I don't know. This is why we just need to proceed with caution in 2015 about some of these games that are online.
I agree with that. Also, there's no need to pre-order things. Don't pre-order things.
But right now you get a discount on your PlayStation card. What are you talking about? And then you can never return it.
Oh, with digital purchases, I don't get the. I mean, the point of pre-order, I guess, being able to download it and have it pre-installed.
You have it, pre-installed.
But I don't know. I don't want to play a game at midnight.
But you like to know that it'll be there and done when you're ready for it.
Sure.
That's the one thing. And granted, you can get around that with your phone, your iDevices, and whatnot's linked to PlayStation 4. But
sure,
it's also cool to
think
Motorola,
it's also Motorola Razr.
It's cool to think it's right there. Yeah. Oh yeah, your Razr. You're hitting the hashtag button.
Oh my gosh.
Remember when it was the pound sign?
Yeah.
Those are the days.
I always get confused when they say I'm on a call with an automated call. They're like enter the 4-digit number and hit pound. I'm like, oh, which one's pound?
Yeah.
Hit hashtag.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.